to Inview Connect. This is the splinter show, if you like, from Sunday nights where we have lots of different guests on and everything. And the Wednesday night has started again last week. It was a brilliant show last week in relation to having a voice, basically, for your fears, concerns, worries, anxieties, whatever you may have. You can come on and talk about. If anything, throughout this show that you want to comment on, you can put your comments in the comment box. I will read them out. Or, as it says on the screen there, you can be part of the Inview Connect, and you can call me on 07403 436 942. That's 07403 436 942. Or you can contact us by Facebook Messenger, Clint Denyer, and also on WhatsApp, Clint Denyer as well. And you can get me on Twitter as well under Clint Denyer. So all of those lines of communication are open. The show is yours. I come on here and talk about all sorts of different things that are annoying me, winding me up, and above all, trying to bring a truth in amongst this absolute catastrophe that we sit in right now. And when I say catastrophe, I'm not. It's underlined and underlined and underlined. In my whole life, and I'm sure in many people's lives, no one has witnessed what we are sitting through at the moment, which to a degree I feel it's a prefabrication. That's my own view. I'm not taking anything away from everyone and anyone that's a key worker or anyone that works in the NHS as a doctor, nurse, or whatever they may be. They all do an amazing job, and well done for every one of them. And I'm not belittling anyone that's died of COVID, because I do realise that there is something out there and it is killing people. But so there is every year. But I'm not belittling anyone, and everyone, when we lose people, is a great sad loss. What I am really annoyed about is the structure, strategy, and governance of it. In other words, the people that you look up to as people that you should recognise, you should understand what they're saying is true. My problem is that I'm not listening to them because they're lying to you, unfortunately. My biggest question, I'll be reiterating in a minute, because somebody sent me a very long piece that I'm going to read out in a minute because it's very interesting. We've been in lockdown a little while now. This is the third lockdown. And already today, apparently, allegedly, we have hit 1,564 daily COVID deaths and 35,000 people in hospitals. And they're saying that the Prime Minister warns us a very substantial risk of intensive care being overtopped. I'm struggling with this immensely. This is not new. You know, in 2 months' time, we've had a year of this. What are they doing? How disorganized and how deliberated is the NHS? Well, I can tell you now, before COVID, NHS was in a mess, and it still is, because it's badly run. It's not run properly. There's no common sense within the government. And in lots of ways, it doesn't seem like the government care either, which is even more alarming, because they come on and they say they really care. Their new advert on government website is stay indoors, don't go out, because if you go out, you could kill someone, because you could be infected or act like you know you've got it. What? I'm at a loss. What year are we living in? Are we living in 2021? Really? I find it astonishing that we are absolutely pelted with garbage, which we're having on a constant basis. And I mean, well, it's a really good idea this show's here on a Wednesday, because I'm here just to sift through the weeds of absolutely mountains of stuff that is thrown at you on a constant basis. And I'm not surprised a lot of you get very confused with what's going on, because there's a lot of misrepresentation and there's a lot of propaganda from the government as well. I want to read out something that somebody sent me, because it's really interesting and epitomizes our situation. Because the biggest question I have, this is our third lockdown, and we've been in this lockdown a little while now. Why is the death rate going up? That's my simple question. Why are people still dying when we are in lockdown? So we're all indoors and supposedly doing what we're supposed to be doing. But I know that the problem with this government is they're saying we must stay indoors, and you can't go out. And then they're finding people to go out, and there's so far 45,000 people have been fined for going out and receiving a fine. Now, in most cases, not legitimately. And I do feel that there's a massive, humongous problem here of mismanagement and misguidance by those that are in power, because they're saying we can go out and exercise. So, what we've got here is, obviously in some places, loads of people are out. They're in Hyde Park, they're here, there, and everywhere, and they're out walking and all sorts. But if you carry coffee cups, you could be having a picnic. Now there's two ladies that were caught in Derbyshire, wherever it was, that were walking with cups of or mugs of coffee. Actually, they that's been repealed. But I've seen many cases on the internet, on social media, of people that are being fined ridiculously. The thing is, there is many people that live in this country, and it's not a case of you can go out, you can stay in, you can go out, you can stay in. Our civil liberties are the thing that's getting eroded here, because they are completely controlling us. And it will come to a stage where there will be a kickback on this, because it will come to a stage that they're bringing more draconian measures, and more draconian measures will be that you aren't allowed out at all unless you are going to buy some food. You can only exercise once a week. All these things could potentially be coming. And do you know what? They're blaming all you for it, not themselves. They're blaming you. They're not blaming their mismanagement. They're blaming themselves. I want to read this out because I think it's interesting. And, that's why I feel a show like this is very, very important, not just about COVID, but by other things as well. Hello, Debbie Jane Harrison. Welcome along. And don't forget, you can be part of the show at any point. You can call my phone here, hotline to the Inview, 07403 436 942, or text me, or you can Facebook message me, or you can put comments in the comments box. All lines of communication are open. I'm going to read this out that somebody sent to me. Notice how media started saying deaths increased from the usual stats. They have to prove there's a real difference. This COVID is making the death rate finally. Otherwise, why lock us down? But now those trying to say, why is it worldwide if not real? Bloody imbeciles think world government together would do this in conjunction with each other. It's bloody odd how over here our freedom restricted income, and I know for a fact in India they are trying to steal farmers' land they own and try to make farmers give funds to government. So yes, something's good is defo stinks. Other countries probably the same, I feel. It's governments taking all power money from those who've earned it. So there's a clear divide between rich and poor. We have all workers or owners will stay small fry, and it's double bluff looking after old folks, jabbing them first. Anyone would think a 90-year-old was never been before. I think it's very true. My biggest question, and nobody asks it on the news because it's all absolute fear porn propaganda. Why have we still got deaths like it is when we're in lockdown? And they're blaming it all on people leaving their houses and spreading it, and because the other variants that are coming in. But it's not that. Debbie Jane Harrison says they are coming. It will happen. We need to be ready for those blackouts as well. I'll tell you what, that's very true. I mentioned it on Sunday. Pakistan, Berlin, and another country all had blackouts. And they also lost their internet and everything as well, because when it came back, they all lost their internet as well. We will get this because we're going in the dark ages here. They're taking us back to medieval time in a way. And it's the rich doing exactly what they like with the other minions that sit there like ourselves. They're not interested in any of us. They say they are, but they're not. Bev Keaton says the NHS is top heavy with too many chiefs, the majority of whom are completely disillusional. and do not make any difference. Nobody's held accountable in the NHS, just like a mini government. You're absolutely right. It's not worked for a very, very long time. It's such a huge organization that I'm sure if they got right would work wonderfully, but it doesn't work right now. It doesn't work for lots of reasons. It doesn't work because in this pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, we have shut Nightingale hospitals, even though they're overrun in hospitals apparently. And now their suggestion of actually with overrun hospitals, this is just beyond. This is just beyond belief, I can tell you. One of the things they're looking at now, because obviously they are saying the Nightingale Hospital is going to open again, but it's been stripped bare, so it's going to cost millions to put it back together. So what they're saying now that the stretched hospitals is they're going to actually look at putting people into hotels, for coronavirus patients. Hospital patients could be moved to hotels to free up beds for people with COVID. Thousands of hospital patients could be moved to hotels or their homes to free up space for COVID patients and stop parts of the NHS collapsing. The NHS has been collapsing for years and years and years. They have, in 2016, they did a mini, if you like, or a smaller version of a pandemic in 2016. Many members of the government that were there then. And they knew what the pitfalls and all the things that should be looked at. Did they do anything about it? No, they didn't. No, they didn't at all. They weren't interested. That was in 2016. I agree. The NHS is top heavy. I am absolutely baffled as to why they would want to send people to hotels when they have Nightingale hospitals, which apparently the Nightingale Hospital in London is going to be reopened, but it's going to be reopened for non-COVID patients. Now, bearing in mind they had 4,000 beds when it was open for COVID and nobody was in it. Now they're going to open it for non-COVID patients and it's going to have 300 beds in this huge, great hall in the Excel Centre in London. Absolute madness. Complete. I mean, Matt Cock needs horsewhipping and he needs taken to the Hague, as with Boris Johnson and all his other cronies, because they are not worth a light, I tell you. And I'll tell you another person that's on my list, hit list, if you like, is the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson. This has been brought to my attention quite a few times. It's big in the news at the moment. I'm going to come to the face masks in a minute. Don't worry about that. Child poverty campaigner Marcus Rashford. It took a footballer, a young footballer, to make it aware to the government that families are struggling. You know, these families that haven't got any food, haven't got any money. And he hit out yesterday over meagre school meal parcels sent to parents. The Man United star, 23, reacted angrily after a mum posted a picture of food she was sent to feed a youngster for 10 days. She priced up the bundle from a provisions at Asda of £5.22 instead of £30. The value of the vouchers to which parents whose children qualify for free school meals are entitled. Rashford, who has headed the Free School Meals Crusade, said if families entitled to £30 worth of food, why is their delivery only equating to just £5? £5. This, you would be astonished. This is supposed to feed a child for 10 days. Look at this. Can you see that? They're supposed to feed a child for 10 days. You know, come on. Let's be real here. Gavin Williamson needs sacking. He's a useless individual. He's no good at his job. Neither is Matt Hancock. Neither is Boris Johnson. They're all totally accountable for all of this. Apollo, Richard Gardner has joined us. Hello, Apollo. How are you? How are you doing? It's great to have you on board. What's really important to remember with all of this, we've got to keep our sanity. It's very important to keep our sanity because all around us, we can see that people are not coping with this at all. Not at all. Jane Brooks says, I can't see how the proposed health passports will help, as the vaccines don't offer 100% protection and there appears to be non-stop variants emerging. Yes, there's another one in Brazil. And these health passports, this is all part of a new, bigger game. And that is to make sure you have a digitalized passport. It'll be in your head eventually, or in your hand. It won't be a piece of paper you carry around, because that could spread virus. But these health passports, they're going to give people when they've had their jabs and they've had their vaccines, because they're only getting one at the moment and they don't know when they're getting the other one, apart from if you're the Queen and people like that. Richard Gardner says, not starving, luckily, at least not yet. Cindy Dooley, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Even Clint, totally agree with you, feeling more and more disconnected. You're not the only one. People disconnected with those who never question government's motives. I know, you're absolutely right. And we have to question government motives, because, this isn't about being controversial. This isn't about being different. It's about being real. Change, a difference. And a difference was about just bringing a truth, my truth, if you like. My truth, you don't have to believe anything I say. But the fact is, I bring it out into the open because I feel other people need to know. And, that's not taking away anything from what people do in the NHS and all the other key workers. It is down to accountability. We have to have these people held in account. Thank you for joining us tonight, Cindy. And don't forget, any one of you can call this show at any point. 07403 436 942. It's on the screen. You can see it. You can phone that or text it, or you can contact me via Facebook Messenger. And you'll be live on the show, or I'll read your comments live on the show. The headlines I've seen recently have been horrendous. And there's only one way this is going to go, I feel. But something that really frightened me that I see, well, frightened me, let's put it another way, it would frighten a lot of people. It doesn't surprise me. This is in Waterloo Station. Now, this is the police out patrolling Waterloo Station. And I'm astounded how this person is kitted out. Look at this. This is a police officer carrying a weapon. He's got a taser. He's got a gun. He's got another gun. He's just loaded up with stuff. And the guy behind him, the other police officer, got a big gun as well. Can somebody tell me why they're carrying guns? Why are they carrying guns? Why are there armed police units in Waterloo Station to tell people that they should not be out? What, are they going to shoot them? Gemma says, do you think the shoddy school dinner is just pure greed, or was it government testing what they get away with? That somebody's making a fortune out of it, and the government just really couldn't give a monkeys. They're providing something on a very shoestring nature, and it really is worse than the third world, normalizing poverty and rationing and starvation. You're absolutely right. I mean, this where have I put it? This is not 10 days worth of food. Look. Could you survive, an adult, let alone a child, on that? Could you really? I want to know, because I'm sure you, like me, are sick to death of talking about COVID, but the only reason I talk about it is because there's so many mistakes being made, and they have to be made account, and you have to be aware of it. What is really happening here? What is the agenda of what they're trying to do? I know there is Agenda 21 where they're trying to get rid of a lot of people and everything, but we live in the 21st century. Where is the love? Where is the peace? Where is the balance? Where is the truth? Where is the faith? Where is the belief? None of it exists with these people in power. And you won't get it because your freedom is being taken away. And that's my opinion. Your freedom is being taken away. As Gemma says there, you can go to Lidl's. You go to Lidl's or Aldi, and you can fill a trolley up. This is supposed to cost £30. All this, 30 quid. Government's £30 handout. Would you say that is £30 worth of food for a child for a week? Are they having a laugh? Are they taking a piss? Absolutely ridiculous. And you know, I'm sorry, but you're intelligent people, and it's wrong how they conduct themselves. They're treating you with contempt, complete contempt, and this is terrible. I've shown you this. I'll show you again. This is Waterloo Station. This is a police officer, and that is a weapon in his hand. That is a gun. Why is he carrying a gun in Waterloo Station? And the guy behind him's carrying a gun. Armed response units in Waterloo. It says more cops on the street in 24/7 enforcement. As I said before, 45,000 people have already got fines. And Priti Patel, which is a horrible person, I don't like her at all, has warned, obey the rules or else we're going to be worse. We're going to make it worse. How worse can you get? Do you know people wake up these days not knowing what day it is? Do you know why they wake up to know what day it is? Because they have no job to go to. They have nothing at all. A lot of people haven't got anything. And, you know, boredom strikes big. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, instead of trying to be creative with these people, what the government should be doing is they should have some minister, a minister of health and well-being there, who's actually saying, let's put on let's do things for the people that actually got nothing to do. Now, if you're like me, I've got lots of things to do, but I'm talking about the general populace. But let's educate them as well. Let's show them what to eat properly. Let's show them how to look after themselves. Let's actually teach them to homeschool, because we're expecting to teach kids that we have no idea what we're meant to be doing. And as for teaching at home, where are all the laptops? Where is it? I'm going to come on to the face mask rules. These came in first. It was Morrison, Sainsbury's. And now all the supermarkets doing exactly the same, except the co-op. Apparently, they are banning people going into supermarkets without a mask. So you won't be able to go into supermarkets without a mask. Let me tell you something even worse than that I read today. And again, it's all taken with a pinch of salt because it's all propaganda. But let me tell you something I read today, which was quite astonishing. Your bank, if you go to your bank and you haven't got a face mask on, they can potentially close your account down. Can you believe that? They can close your account, your bank account down because you're not wearing a face mask. How far in La La Land are we? How far are we in a dream or on some incredible trip? Like we've all taken a huge narcotic bunch of drugs and we're sitting in a La La Land where you have to wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask going into for good reason, then you will have your bank account removed. Where's your civil liberties? Your people. It's not right. It's just so annoying. It's just ridiculous. So this face mask rule, bearing in mind, when face mask, when this disease, when this plague epidemic, whatever you want to call it, started in March, they told you, no, we don't need to wear face masks. No, it'd be fine. And then they weren't sure. And then they said, yeah, we do have to wear face masks. Now, obviously, if you go to China, Hong Kong, Japan, many people out there wear face masks. Now, they wear face masks. Oh, we have somebody ringing into the Inview. Hello, it's Apollo. Hello, Apollo. You are live on Inview Connect. Can you hear me? I've lost him. Can you believe that? It's live on air. I've lost my caller. Let's try and get him back. Let's try and get him back. Hello, Apollo.
Oh, good evening, Clint.
You are live on Inview Connect. It's fantastic to speak to you, and it's wonderful to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I just...
Sorry, where are you? I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll put the screen down. Well, it's one thing that, the ego. I mean, this is a huge topic.
Yeah.
But the ego is obviously a root of many of our problems that we have to do, like arming of the policeman and how everything is out of balance.
Well, I'm stunned with that. Aren't you stunned with what I don't know if you're watching it or not. I'm stunned that in Waterloo Station, they have got policemen walking around so full of stuff and
it's
guns.
Impressive. It's very impressive, isn't it? Absolutely. Totally unnecessary. But one thing I wanted to broaden on is one thing that I think the human race is missing at the moment, because America, like England, is just talking about getting the mechanics of the economic system back up and running.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason we're in the problem. We're in so much trouble at the moment anyway.
Because the whole system don't work.
Yeah, and we're so out of sync with nature.
Yeah.
That we're creating this imbalance where there's the viruses. And I don't think that we've quite got it yet, because, like with our face masks and all our aprons and our gloves, we're just polluting the planet more.
Yeah.
And unless we address this problem, it's going to get worse. And until we actually get that message, it's going to get worse. So.
But that message is something that's quite simple, to be honest. And this is not this is not something that's new. It's been here all the time, but it's getting worse because we live in a completely disposable society. I mean, you go to the supermarket and you can fill afterwards, when you take all of your food out and you eat it, you can fill your whole bag up with the packaging.
Absolutely. It's rather depressing. It actually depresses me. And obviously I try and adjust my living as I can, but sometimes it's unavoidable. And you just by eating, we're just throwing so much away. Yes.
And the waste. And you remember when the lockdown started, and it is still going on now, people are stockpiling. They're actually buying extra fridges and freezers to put more stuff in.
Yes. Well, I think
I don't know what they did with all the toilet rolls.
No, right. Yeah, probably hamsters, perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah.
No, but interestingly, I think there was I didn't see it, but someone told me about it, where there was this program of in a town somewhere, and they were just sort of going through people's bins, and just there was so much food waste, because obviously most of what people are stockpiling is perishable.
Yeah.
And, they just can't eat it.
Obviously, I understand freezer and things like that. And obviously, I understand with people that need or want to keep a good supply of medication, paracetamol, and all sorts of different stuff like that as well. But, I'm talking about people going buy loads and loads of fresh meals. And have you noticed about all this food, even the fresh stuff you buy? The date's on there to use by, but I mean that, lots of places, and I know there's lots of bin watchers. They're people that go out into bins and in the back of supermarkets and clear out the bins of all their stuff that's out of date and eat it. But bread, everything doesn't last anything like what it used to. No.
Well, this year I grew. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough to have
You've got green fingers.
Yes. And I grew lots of parsnips, carrots, potatoes. And I mean, when you buy some carrots from the supermarket, whether you keep them in the fridge or not, usually within a week, they're starting to go bendy.
Yeah.
And then they start to rot at the ends.
Boomerang carrots.
Yes, yes. And my carrots that I grew in the garden, I had them for 3 months, and it was like I still had only just picked them.
Yeah.
So you know, um,
there's a couple of comments on here. A couple of comments. Gemma says, "Wait until there's cashless society and they can stop you accessing funds." And then she says, "The ones with freezers will be snookered if and when the blackouts come." Did you know that in Canada there is a curfew in place at the moment? The whole of Canada, 8 o'clock in the evening until 5 in the morning. And the fact that they had a blackout, so did Pakistan, and so did somewhere else.
Right.
Yes, we are heading for that.
No, I didn't. I tend to, I don't research the news too much at the moment.
No, I understand that, because it's all pretty grim.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. The only reason I do it is because I want to see what lies they're telling. Then I can come on here and tell you what lies they're doing.
I agree. But
somebody's got to stand up and say, look, this isn't right.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, our energy imbalance is going to carry on getting worse, because that's what we've made so readily available. You know, from batteries to just switching on the lights to petrol. You know, all the fossil fuels. We just use it up like there's no tomorrow, and that it doesn't matter. And I think something that we've forgotten innately, that I mean, everything is finite on this planet, and we use it as if there's an infinite supply. And really, we should be considering every move that we make, during each day, as what we're discarding, what we're using, and if we can possibly, use 2 sheets of paper less a day. I'm not talking about toilet roll, but writing. Yeah, well, that as well. But I mean, if you multiply our waste by the 7.5 billion of us on this planet, it becomes tons, or whatever is being measured in. It is just multiplied by 7.5 million, and it's just how this planet is surviving at the moment is beyond me. It's going to be our tragedy, isn't it? That
yes, it is, and we have to look after the planet, because the planet is part of what we are. And unfortunately, the whole progression of what we've had in all countries around the world that really don't really look at nature as they should, because they just take it for granted it's there. And they take for granted that oil's always going to be there. We live in a time that none of this should happen. We're in the 21st century. There's somebody called Nikola Tesla, and he actually invented a box to go in everyone's house, and they wouldn't need to use any fossil fuels.
Yeah, I watched something about Nikola Tesla just yesterday, actually, and to do with the harnessing of that power, as in with the pyramids, in Egypt and other sites around the world, sort of using, harnessing the universal energy. Yes. I mean, it's amazing, but man doesn't, look beyond his own creation of what he's making.
Because they're ignorant.
The ego.
Yeah.
And, and actually the ego is ununiversal. It separates not only us, but it separates us from nature, from the earth, from the other planets, the solar system, the universe. It just separates us from life.
Yeah.
And we're just stuck in our own, in our own ego. And worried, we're living in this oppressive society.
Well, I think it's more than just the earth itself. It's people. I've been out there today, and there is something very strange going on with people right now. In relation, when they're driving, they drive slowly. Everyone's unhappy and miserable, because obviously they can't go anywhere or do anything. But they're not looking at the one source they have inside themselves, which is a soul source.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, if luckily there's, I say luckily, but this has actually benefited. In the last few months, I've been doing daily practice of meditation to get in touch with my soul self, my truth, And you've got to quieten the mind and the ego to actually let to sort of contact the truth that's within us. And I've been sort of meditating. Well, I call it quite new. Well, I say new to it. I recently picked it up over the last 16 months. And
yeah, because I think you've had a difficult journey, haven't you, yourself? So
yes,
it's about finding that quiet peace, and when it's not about jumping into the mill. Do you know what I mean? We've all been there. We've all lost it at points, and we
yes,
really find
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. Well, I did. Yeah. I had a very difficult patch, a while back, and this is what pulled me out of it. Yeah. But finding that inner quiet and the peace.
And you had loss as well. You lost your father, I think, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, and the dog just recently as well. So
wow.
And then my mother broke her hip, and she had a couple of mini strokes. So I've been caring for her, and I mean she's on the mend now. But yeah, it's been a very tough time, and but we find that anything that isn't, it's like the world that we live in today is chaos. And that is because, we're not living in truth, and everyone's out to ruin one another. And
yeah, but it's such a world of dog eat dog, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And because tell me, Clint, I mean, where else, in the universe does economics and politics exist? I mean, in fact, if you think about this how beautiful this earth is. Mother Nature, and we've got to arm ourselves, tanks, weapons, guns, and and the funny thing is, this is how much the ego makes us lose our mind, is that scientists and governments are looking into, being able to exist on another barren planet for our survival, in inverted commas. Well, hang on, if we can't live on this paradise of an earth, on this paradise of a planet, what chances are we going to have for moving to a barren one?
The earth is not the problem, it's the people that run it.
Well, absolutely, yes.
And that's why there's got to be change.
Yes,
and I feel that we are going, just with COVID, but there's loads of other things going on as well in the background. Just with where we sit in a place where people have had enough of everything, politics, everything. It's just it's dead.
Yeah, we shouldn't have these imbalances. There's absolutely no need for it. And it is the greed. It is the greed of the ego that has created this. And now people are like, well, hang on, this just isn't right. But of course, to make the adjustment that is required on this planet, you have the greedy ones, the multinationals, the corporates, the governments. They don't want to let this power go.
Well, they don't, because you see, these people actually, without people knowing it, are infiltrated with extraterrestrial races from other planets. That's all exists here in the materialistic West. Yes. The West is filth. The East is where there is some sun and light.
Absolutely. But what I'd like to, hopefully with this conscious shift, because you hear about it more and more of people, wanting to actually discover the truth and find out the peace and the love that's within them. And it's, to me, it's an undercurrent amongst all this filth that's created by the governments and the ego and the corporations. But the undercurrent, what I like about it, is can be more powerful than the surge. It can. So I'm just hoping that it gets that momentum, that humanity gets in the undercurrent.
Well,
where the truth is hidden.
I feel we're in an imploding time, the same as Atlantis, where people were turned against each other, division was caused, mass destabilization of millions of people around the world that's not living in their own countries anymore, wars everywhere, and those are in power just have an agenda to get rid of a lot of people as well. Agenda 21, 95% of the population. But and a lot of people say, you're mad, that ain't going to happen. Well, it is. They're right in front of your eyes right now.
Yes.
But we mustn't forget the animal kingdom, the animals that we're losing constantly, that are not here anymore.
No, I know. It's tragic.
Gemma said that it's utterly heartbreaking to read that gorillas are testing positive for COVID-19. And she said it's a brave person who took those samples.
Yes, yeah. I think that there should be a law made that makes certain things, instantly a crime to Mother Nature. Because why should, the fate of these wonderful creatures, this beautiful life,
in the hands of maniacs,
in the hands of an idiot or a greedy person or someone who just build this, dig here, mine this, do whatever. That there should be a crime against Mother Nature. What's going on there?
Sorry.
Have you read something?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's going on there?
That's all right. I shouldn't have had a cigarette.
Oh right, okay. God. Well, as long as it's not the old COVID kicking in, but there you go.
No, I haven't got that. No.
Yes. Well, yes. Well, okay. Are we have a sip of water? Do you have some water there?
Yeah, I had a sip of beer. I'm all right.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, just quickly going back, I think there should be a crime to Mother Nature that should be in place, and that people cannot cross that line. And they should be dealt with in a proper way. So.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the fact is, what we have to look at here is the fact that those who are in control aren't really in control at all, because nature is.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, you look at the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon rainforest being desecrated every day.
Yes, yeah.
But we don't hear about it because it's not on our news, because there's no British people out there, and it's not part of Britain.
Exactly, yeah.
And this is how insular we are.
Yeah, and we should be hearing about it, doing something about it, every day.
Yes.
Not just hearing about, how people aren't getting out of their homes and the streets and, and a picture of the post office being in the news or something. No, we need to hear about the Amazon, the whales, the drilling, the fact that Trump, before he's leaving office, is auctioning off the pristine Arctic habitat at between $25 and $40 an acre.
Really?
To these companies, so that but actually these people I support biodiversity, even though they're American, I donate to them. And just last year alone, they took the the Trump administration to court 171 times, to do protecting butterflies, stopping roads, mining, all sorts of things to protect, the bears, the wolves, all sorts of things. And I think that they were taken to court, or he was, to stop some of this sale of the Arctic happening, and they won. It all. But yeah, the fact that we've got to fight this, it's just disgusting. It's depressing.
It is. They won't buy any of the Arctic, though, the Antarctica, because that's all taken. By all the countries of the world who own that.
Yeah. But it's the money, it's the greed, it's the.
Yeah, but it is about chasing the money. All about chasing the money. Money.
Absolutely. And it's an illusion. I mean, what is it at the end of the day?
It's a promise to pay somebody something, and you haven't got anything.
Yes, exactly. So you're dangled with the carrot, to create a better life for you, your family.
And be 2.4 children and be married and happy ever after, have a house and wash your car every Sunday.
Yes, yeah. I think it's been designed. You see, go back a few years. We used to be far more family orientated, and you'd have certain generations living together. Now, I believe, obviously, yes, sometimes you must go out and make your own life. But we live in this career institution where you must go out and and I think, of course, it's destroying the planet. Everybody else fighting, carving their way into Mother Nature to make their way. This so-called career.
Do you not think, Apollo, that within the realms of the lockdowns themselves, I mean, particularly the first one, because everyone could go out and enjoy nature. But do you think it was lovely to see that the animals were taking over roads? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sheep and all sorts. Which, if you go to New Forest, you see that every day because they roam everywhere in New Forest, everything. And it's their country. At the end of the day, isn't it? It's their world.
Absolutely, we've infringed on them.
Yeah, same as we did with the Native American Indians and all the indigenous people around the world.
Yes. I mean, if you look at the ancient civilizations, they were so much more in touch with their inner truth, with their truth within the solar system, and the natural energies of the planet, and they lived with respect. Yeah. And this is, I'm hoping, a way forward. But this is what we've got to do: is take the ancient wisdom, which, of course, I'm being summoned, so I must go in a minute. Hang on, sorry, 1 second. I'm on the phone. 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm back again.
That's all right.
We've got to take the ancient wisdom of our ancient civilizations and mix it in with some of the greener and safer technologies that we are discovering today.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could all be there, but
the thing is that we have had it all, because what's interesting is George Bush Senior, his father, was the person that had all of the files of Nikola Tesla.
Was that for
and most of it is used for military purpose.
Absolutely, exactly. It's more about destruction rather than being able to live in peace and harmony. It's about a few to hold the power, the keys, and not give it to the rest of civilization.
Yeah.
I
totally agree.
Absolutely disgusting. Well, it's a bit like that. You can actually run cars off water, but you can actually run them off hydrogen, where just H2O comes out of the exhaust.
Yeah.
And but the petrol companies, not car companies, it was the petrol companies that bought up the rights to manufacture it. So it's just like anything that would be good for the planet, good for the people.
They won't have it because they want to get money out of you.
Exactly.
And at the same time, they want to rape the planet of its resource.
Yes.
Because at some point, oil will run out, and coal will run out, and gas will run out.
Yeah, and that will leave even greater imbalance. And yes, Mother Nature will adapt, but the damage we do along the way is unforgivable.
Yeah.
Through our greed. So anyway, look, I'm really sorry, but I must go.
No, it's all right. It's lovely to have you on, Apollo, and thank you very much for your views. That's what this show's about. You called in. It's great. It's fantastic.
Enjoyed it. It's been good. Until next time.
And until next time, yes, we will speak again soon.
Yeah, and I shall join you later on, not necessarily on the phone, but when I finish, I'll come back, and if you're still online, I shall listen in.
Yeah, brilliant. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, young Richard Gardner, Apollo. Join us on the Inview Connect. Thank you very much for ringing in. That's very, very kind of you.
You're very welcome.
A lovely guy. Thank you, Apollo. That's what the show's about, really, on a Wednesday. It is about coming on and having your viewpoint, if you like. It might not be what I'm talking about. You might want to talk about something completely different. Do apologise about having a coughing fit with that. Jumper said, did I swallow the cigarette? No, I didn't. I've still got it in one piece, but I think it went down the wrong way. But there you are. I'm okay. So it's not just about talking about COVID. It's all about talking about all sorts of other things as well. Whatever you want to talk about. He's got a passion, which is understandable, as I have as well. Nature is so important. How often do we go out in nature? How often do we look at it? I know it's cold at the moment, but the clouds. What's going on out there? Do you know what I mean? It's a world. On a nice day, it's nothing better than going out in the woods or whatever. and having a walk about and everything, and listen to the trees and the wind and everything else. And it's immensely therapeutic. I'm going to get off of COVID in a minute, but I wanted to make you aware of this. You too could do what Richard just done. Just ring 07403 436 942 or Facebook me or text me. This is an advert in a newspaper. Does someone you know deserve a medal? £19.95 each. And these can be essential worker, observe lockdown in Britain, NHS volunteers, ambulance crews, prison service, armed forces, doctors, firefighters, teachers. Look, there you are. Get your badge, £19.95. What you want to have said on it. I think it's disgusting, personally. What else we got here? Move up north is 3 billion win. Moving civil servants from London to the north will give a 3 billion boost to the region and cement the blue wall for the Tories, researchers claim. The finest come as Michael Gove prepares to reveal fresh details of plans to move 22,000 staff out of the capital. This is all about the facelift of Parliament, and they're thinking about going up north to Manchester area or whatever. The think tank of the Northern Research Foundation says it's identified 49,500 jobs ripe to be shifted from London to other towns and cities. So there you go. We're going to move off of COVID in a minute, and I'm going to be talking about UFOs as well, because there's a few things I want to talk to you about. But before we move off COVID, I'll just make sure I've got through everything I want to speak to you about. I told you about that. This is an interesting thing. It's on the Sun newspaper website. This is a COVID vaccine calculator. So you put in your age and various details. They ask yes and no, age, are you a care home resident, are you pregnant, health worker, unpaid care, and all sorts. And then what it'll do is work out where you are in the queue. Apparently, I am 38,844,493 in the queue. Apparently, if I was going to have one, but I'm not. So that is it's called the COVID vaccine calculator. It's on the Sun website. I'm not giving them credence to Sun, but it is on their website. It's interesting to look at. Gemma says, I've noticed the sunrise and sunsets and cloud formation is very unusual this year. Yes, they are. And they're very, very strong as well. But how often do people look at the sky? You know, we have so much time at the moment. We should make time. I know that it's cold and it isn't very nice, but certainly as spring comes, we can get out there and really enjoy being outside. But if we're allowed to, of course, because by which time we might actually have to stay indoors in the prison permanently. Do you know what I mean? The mental damage and the torture that's going on here is astronomical and out of the roof. It is, and the real pandemic is all of the people that are being missed here. The cancer patients, the heart disease, the very serious illnesses that are not being dealt with or looked at. Which now apparently they are going to look at some of them, because there's 300 beds opening in a 4,000 bed venue in the Nightingale Hospital. Gemma Brooks said, I asked my daughter to empty the dishwasher, and she said she had already done it once today. I think she wants a medal. I don't know if they do one for that. I don't know if they do one for emptying dishwashers. They might do. I don't know. Just check everything else here before I move on. I will talk about that in a bit as well. It's not a very nice subject, but we'll talk about it. Not dishwashers, but about the horrendous amount of babies that died or were murdered in Ireland from 1920 for a lot of years. Absolutely horrendous story. It's been around for a while, but it's been reared its head again. I'm going to read out a bit of fun news right now, because it's not all doom and gloom, and it's not all about staying on COVID either. Apparently, and Did the earth move for you? Bored partners faking orgasms. The lockdowns have caused more people to fake orgasms, and relationship troubles have led to rubbish sex. 7 out of 10 women confess to pretending as they got increasingly bored of making love in a stay-at-home Britain. A third of blokes said they have faked it while stuck at home constantly with their missus, often because they were drunk and struggling. For lots of women, it is easier to fake it and get the sex over with rather than explain to the partner that they're not very happy. I think it comes down to the fact you've got to talk to each other. Communication is key. You know what I mean? That's a bit of a fun thing, really. What we got here, thousands of bikes lay dumped. We were just talking about to Apollo just now. Thousands of bikes lay dumped in a huge pile waiting to be scrapped or repaired. The mountain of damaged bikes belonging to rental app firm in Chengdu is one of many across China, with dozens of firms swarm the streets with cycles. You can't even see the ground. Do you know what I mean? Look at them. These are all bicycles and mountains of them. Do you ever ask, how can a man fake an orgasm? That's a very good question. I have no idea, because you either do it or you don't do it, I presume. What we got here, night at a travel lodge cost broker 500k. A stockbroker forgot a pile containing share certificates worth 500,000 at Travelodge. Airline tickets and an engagement ring were also among valuables left behind by people staying at hotels. How can people leave behind airline tickets and rings? In Chester, one business traveller forgot his keys to a brand new Bentley. How can you walk out of a room knowing you're going to get in your car, your Bentley, and you left your keys there? While a company boss staying in Aberdeen missed his flight home to retrieve his lucky penny. He had been carrying the coin around 40 years. Other items discovered by staff included 2 first-class tickets to Maldives, a marriage certificate, lots and lots and lots of different things. This year's audit included an R2D2 robot, a William Shakespeare outfit with a skull, a money bear tree bearing £50 notes, and a 60-year-old marriage certificate, and a 6-foot cuddly polar bear, and a message in a bottle wedding proposal. Wow, there you are. What else have we got here? Getting through these. These are just bits and pieces I picked out. This one here, a cop car cover-up. An uninsured driver tried to get cover for his motor while sitting in the back of a police car. He scrabbled to insure his silver Jag on his mobile to show cops he was real road legal. The deceitful driver actually splashed out for a temporary policy while sitting in a patrol car with officers. They made checks on his vehicle, and his ruse was rumbled when he was fined for failing to have the cover in place before he was stopped. West Midlands police tweeted a picture of the motor saying the driver of this car tried to insure his car while he's in the back of our car. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable, isn't it? What people do is unbelievable. This could be an interesting one, I'll tell you. If you're owner of a dog collars that allows pets to talk. Can you believe that? With their owners have been developed. The device records the sound of a dog's bark and works out what emotional state the animal is in. How can you work out what state an animal is in by their bark? I suppose you can by its highness or lowness, if you like. The device records the sound of the dog's bark. This is then sent to an app on the owner's phone, which tells them what their best friend is saying. Pet Plus, a South Korean company, unveiled the collar at a consumer electronics show, the most influential technological event in the world, claiming it gives your dog a voice. The firm's experts studied 10,000 dogs from 50 breeds and 4 sizes and sorted their barks into 5 categories: happy, anxious, sad, or relaxed. And when the pooch barks, a signal is sent to an app on the owner's phone. Pet Plus says the collar helps owners understand the animal's emotional well-being by day, week, and month. The more the dog barks, the better the app learns what it's saying. There's a built-in tracker and activity monitor, so the owner also knows the number of calories their dog is burning and how much food it needs for a healthy weight. Oh, dear. I tell you, you've got to get away from COVID sometimes. Go on to something else. Do you know what I mean? Because COVID is just goes on and on and on. And this is another one about dogs actually as well. And I don't know if this is going to catch on or not, but dog owners can now buy sex dolls for their humping hounds for £250. Websites are flogging the fluffy dummies for randy males. They look like cuddly toys for kids, but with a big difference. Eye imitation female canine organ. The dolls even make doggy sounds and have suction cups on their paws, so so they can be secure at certain points. Gemma Brooks said, I would love all the dog app says is feed me and I love you. Yeah, well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Maybe a dog like one of these as well. They have an internal steel frame to support the weight of larger dogs, and I was said to be easily cleaned. A Facebook user said, I thought I'd seen it all. One listing for retailer AliExpress describes the item as a vent toy and says it can recreate woohoo sounds from female dogs. There you are. Where are we? Do you know what I mean? What's going on? School fine threat here. This is a school is threatening to take a couple to court as their daughter's skirt is too long. So not too short, too long. The Muslim family say a shorter one would be against their beliefs. Siham Hamud, 12, has been wearing an Anglex skirt to school for years, but her parents say she was told last month it was incorrect uniform. Her dad said she was sent home every day in December and told to come back in a shorter skirt, but she refused. Uxbridge High School in London, West London, insists girls should wear black trousers or pleated skirts from official suppliers. Idris says the skirt is above the knee and so contravenes their beliefs, as do the trousers. The school has threatened him and wife with legal action for unauthorized absence. And Idris, an athletes coach, said, my daughter is being denied an education because of religious beliefs. Well, there you are. You can make your own mind up on that one, to be honest. So, while we've been in COVID and you're all in lockdown and everything, some of the rich and famous haven't been, have they? They've been all over the place. If we look at superstar Madonna has traveled more than 11,700 miles in 3 weeks on an extravagant winter getaway. Despite strict traveling bans amid the pandemic, the Like a Virgin singer, 62, flew from Los Angeles to London with a backing boyfriend dancer, 26. And they were accompanied on the Christmas Eve trip by their sons and by her daughter and her son and twins. She returned to London for a few days before the family set off, joined by eldest son Rocco, who is UK based. They all flew to Malawi in late December, and they've been basically going around the world ever since. Yeah. But Gemma says Madonna did that on a broomstick. She probably did, actually. She probably has one of them. Another story here. Ricky Gervais turned down the chance to do the first stand-up show in space because he was too scared. The comedian actor was invited to perform a set on one of the first commercial trips, but said he would not want to risk it. Ricky, 59, who created Netflix comedy Afterlife, called the prospect mad and insisted, I'm careful crossing the road. He said, I was offered one of these things where you go up into space for 50 minutes. It was like a group of billionaires, and they offered me the chance to be the first comedian to do a stand-up show in space. And I went, no, I'm not going to risk it. The Office creator Ricky joked that passengers would have better things to do than listen to him telling gags after forking out a fortune to take the trip. He told a US TV show these people were paid $300,000 to go in space and have a look around. It's all money. It's all money. So, yeah, as I said before, the show is your space. You're like Richard, we had earlier on, Apollo, who rang in and he was talking about COVID, but he's also talking about the environment and how we should take more notice of nature itself, which I think is absolutely right. It is here for all of you or any of you to speak about anything you want to. Gemma says Ricky's show would have been out of this world. It certainly would have been, yes. You know, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Imagine the Inview coming from space, maybe Mars or something like that. There was a story that came out the middle of last week, which really fascinated me, which was on the front of the Daily Star. And obviously, we take what these papers say with a pinch of salt, but it's very interesting. If it come up, I'd tell you what it is. It's basically, there's a special SAS unit that have been trained to respond to an alien invasion. Can you believe that? The SAS have got ETs in their sights, and the Daily Star, it was on Sunday, my apologies, have said that this special SAS squad, if my screen would come up, which I'm sure it will in a minute, are in training for an invasion from extraterrestrials, and the SAS have got ET in their sights, and Daily Star reveals a special projects unit around 20 troopers is ready to tackle alternative threats. The elite soldiers are trained to use non-lethal weapons against a variety of potent potential threats, including aliens. The SAS have been prepared for anything and any threat. That includes everything from terrorists to human bioweapons, where someone has been deliberately infected with a deadly bug, or all the way through to alien life form. I know it sounds bonkers, but the SAS train for capture missions for every threat. And they can use a range of non-lethal weapons, which involves spray foam, which covers targets and hardens them basically so they can't move, or freezes them. Most people believe that life on other planets exists. Even Einstein in 1920 said, "Why should Earth be the only planet supporting human life? If you believe in that, then you must accept that alien life may be present, a threat, so you need to plan for it." And you know, there was a very famous speech that Ronald Reagan made in the United Nations, where he said something along the lines of, if we have a threat that comes to this world, our people would unify. In other words, other countries, maybe Russia and America and all sorts, would unify against that one predator. And he's talking about something else other than human. But obviously, the way that very, very long time. We have someone else calling the Inview Connect, and it happens to be Mr. Matthew John. Hello, Matthew John. How are you?
How you doing? You all right?
I'm very well. It's great to have you aboard.
Just thought I'd give you a quick call and have a quick chat with you.
That's
how
all
you
right.
doing?
I'm just talking about aliens and UFOs.
Oh, lovely.
Moving away from COVID.
Sorry, what? You talking about the flu?
Moving away from COVID, basically. Talking about UFOs. I was just talking about there's an SAS regiment that is being trained at the moment to fight aliens when they invade.
Oh.
But I don't know why they're doing that, because they're here already. But, you know.
They're on that extraterrestrial land, the ETs in the extra terrain that's past the South Pole.
That's the one, yes. Over the 200 or 300 foot ice wall.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, where Admiral Byrd went.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I don't know if you've done much research on Admiral Byrd, but watching some of his old interviews and
on television, he tells you it cryptically. He tells you on television. I mean, in the real old days when they're all very, very nice and very, very, very polite and all sorts, and he tells them, yes, he tells them. So, how are you doing anyway, Matthew, with everything? Matthew John, of course, been on the Inview many times. He's coming the Inview in not too distant future to talk about various things.
Yes, we're coming on at the end of the month, aren't we? I'm doing okay, mate. The energy's been very heavy, so so tired this week and feel exhausted.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, and a lot of people are very lost, dense. I mean, I've been driving my car, and people are driving like 10 miles an hour, like in a dream.
unfortunately, what's actually going on at the moment is the manipulation of the mind and confliction.
Yeah.
So the conflicting information that goes against common sense and all fucking logic, really. You know, I don't really want to talk about COVID, but at the end of the day, what we're finding is that whether you believe COVID exists or not, it doesn't really exist, because is it not just the flu rebranded?
Yeah. You
go and look at the figures, go and look at what the stats say, and then go and look at all the alternative doctors speaking out about it that aren't being heard. We're living in the age of censorship now.
Oh, completely.
And I don't know about you, but Facebook in this last few days has changed. It seems different. It doesn't seem like anybody's on there. It's like a bloody ghost town. If it wasn't before, you know, but like nobody's getting any notifications of anything. People are
losing. People are losing friends on there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And it's just I don't know. There's just so much shit going around, isn't there?
There is, unfortunately.
So much information.
But I know you are doing something like I am with this show. You have the Spiritual Unity Network.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw us on Tuesday evening.
No, I missed it. I do apologise.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. And we've been like, there was about sort of 5 or 6 that came to watch us that evening.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting a day later that not many more people have seen it, and it's like, See, so is it a combination of they haven't had a notification of it?
I haven't had a notification of it.
There you go. So it's like, you know, then you have to start tagging people, and it's a bit like, I don't really want to force people to come and watch it, you know.
No, I understand.
Anyway, we've basically been we've been looking for people to come and basically join up together and start doing some great work. And I'm not going to speak too much about it tonight, because I want to talk about it when I come on the show.
Of course. Yeah.
We're Kickstarter now. I won't spoil it for them.
But people can watch it if they go to if they join the Spiritual Unity Network.
Yeah. If you come and join the Spiritual Unity Network on Facebook.
I'll have to check that out, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't even had notification, to be honest, Matthew.
Me and Jane did it was it Tuesday yesterday?
Yeah, I know. What day is it? Where are we? What year?
I got no idea.
I mean,
me and Jane did it last night. So
isn't it strange how we lose track of days?
It all seems to be mango into one at the moment, doesn't it?
And another thing is the fact that, does it really matter? Because, you know, technically, apart from going out to your shop, which you can still do at the moment, and go out and exercise, but I mean, the way it's coming is we're not going to be able to do half of that, to be honest.
I think the thing is, is that we're all getting a bit mixed up with what's going on here, because we don't know what's going on.
No, I know. Well, there's lots of things going on that they won't tell us about at all.
And for two, the sheer fact of the matter is that, number one, this isn't rules.
Yeah.
This since last February or March, when we went into the first lockdown, it's only ever been guidance. It's never been rules. It's never been law, right? You can't put this into law. That would be fucking tyranny. I'm sorry, it just would be.
Well, in a way.
So it's on you. It's guidance. And the thing is, because everybody's in such fear and they don't know the law and they don't know their rights, this is why they're all stuck indoors under house arrest, because they're living in so much fear that they couldn't go outside. Because if a policeman come up to them, they'd just melt and bow down to the authority, because that's part of the process of indoctrination and programming that we're under.
Yeah, but this is Fourth Reich. We sit in Fourth Reich here.
Well, yeah, we are. Well, are they not acting like the SS?
Well,
of course they are.
Yeah.
Of course they are. They're going around bullying people left, right, and centre who are not conforming, or who are easy pickings, because there's only a few not wearing masks.
Yeah.
There's only a few that are kicking off.
I mean,
because most of us are under mass hypnosis, mass fucking indoctrination.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, to say that now you can't go in a supermarket without a face mask on is discrimination on a scale unbelievable. And in law, it goes against the What's It Charter, doesn't it?
Well, to be fair, it's not law, but it's legislation, right? But their own rules is the Equality Act 2010.
Equality Act, that's it.
I think it's Section 5, Section 15, and Section 29. They are not allowed to even question you.
No, they're not.
They are not allowed to even impose anything on you because that is discrimination. The Equalities Act 2010. So that actually carries a fine of up to £5,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, are the police out enforcing that? No, of course not.
No.
But because of people's lack of not reading legislation and laws and whatever else and not knowledge of it, they just do as they're told, or they'll be bullied into it, you know. And I think that's the thing. Yeah, there's a very clear divide right now. Even today, I went to the shop. Now, I got told that I wasn't allowed in Aldi without a face mask on. So
I love Aldi. I think Aldi's a great shop.
I said, well, I'm exempt, and she said, yeah, but I need. And so I showed her. I did have my lanyard on me, and I just showed her it. She said, oh, that's fine. She said,
yeah, but what about if you haven't got one of those?
No, exactly. But you should, at that point, by you saying you're exempt, you've given them enough verbal evidence that you're exempt. You shouldn't have to explain yourself from that point.
No, but you shouldn't.
Because that's in the Equality Act 2010.
Yeah, but it's data protection, everything. When you go into starting revealing what's wrong with you, and all sorts, you're not meant to do that.
No, you haven't. Even with the police, you do not have to give them any information at all.
No.
Do you know, quite a few people that I know have even gone to ask the doctor to give them a piece of paper to say that they're exempt, and they won't give it. So what the fuck's this all about? It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's just bollocks. But it's just the big divide, isn't it? The great big divide. And it seems that they have got most of society under hypnosis.
But have they really? I don't know. I think the tide is changing here fast, I think.
Yeah.
And I do feel that there is a lot of people now that are really, really aware. I mean, if you look at the clap for heroes, not clap for the NHS, clap for heroes, no one was out there doing it.
No, because they all know that something's wrong.
Yes.
They maybe don't have the fruition to actually do anything about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up on people, obviously. I will still show them love and compassion, but, you know, there are a lot of lost souls out there, I'm afraid.
There is.
There really is.
Stella says she don't have a lanyard, but I use a piece of paper I carry in my pocket. I printed off a net, not worn mask since it all started.
Yeah, I've never worn a mask since it started.
Yeah.
And I won't bow down to that, I'm afraid. Because for me, COVID is the flu rebranded. It really is. And they've got us all thinking that it's some deadly thing. Yeah, now, I'm not saying that when you get COVID, it's not a nastiest strain of flu. I'm not saying that. Yes, it probably is for some people.
Yeah.
But we all react differently to the flu. And depending on your
immune system.
Your immune system. Now, I'm fairly fit and healthy. I work outside in all sorts of weathers and put my hands in all sorts of gunk.
Yeah.
I have a strong immune system. So when I get ill, I'm literally ill for a day, maybe 2 days max. So when I got COVID, I think I actually got COVID last Christmas.
I think a lot of people have had it, actually.
Not the Christmas just gone, but the one 2019.
Yeah.
I had 2 days where, well, it was not nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's why probably we haven't had the pandemic, because at the end of the day, we have got herd immunity because a lot of us had it.
Oh, apparently.
We did actually have it. We did have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently
it makes it all fucking even worse, doesn't it? With the amount of lies to see going on, you know.
The government is telling us you got to act like you got it anyway.
What the fuck is that about?
What message are you giving people? You act like you have it.
See, is that not a technique to subdue the population?
It's terrible.
Get down on your fucking knees, you slaves.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Hancock and Gavin, whatever his name is, Dickhead, and Boris, they all need to go to The Hague.
They do, mate. They all need to go back to The Hague.
But, you know, one of the things that's very sad, and looking at this on a baseline, because I know governments, we need a complete change of everything, but as it sits, where it sits, I am and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people.
Yeah.
The fact that where is any opposition to what they're doing? Where is Keir Starmer? Keir Starmer, who has rumblings and likes to be filmed like Boris doing his own bit, but has a few rumblings, but doesn't bang his fist, doesn't get enthusiastic about anything. He's a Tory in red clothes.
There's one guy, and I can't remember his name, and he spoke in the Commons a couple of weeks back, maybe a month ago or so, and he was like, "I'm not having anything to do with this, blah 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 blah," and he was actually he come across like he was for the people, which was great, right? On one side of the argument, it was great, but I'm just going to say this very clearly for everybody to hear. One thing that a lot of people don't understand: firstly, government is actually a religion.
Yes.
To believe in government, you have faith and a religion. You believe that this system, you vote them in, and they represent the people. And it's a complete fallacy.
It is
complete fallacy.
I don't believe it.
Both sides of the fence, whether it be red, yellow, blue, purple, fucking pink, or whatever, they all represent the same bird.
Yeah.
They represent. So they came out. Well, it's probably nearly 2 years ago now, and said that Parliament is sovereign. That can never happen because Parliament is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's all fiction. It isn't real. It cannot be sovereign because it cannot have life and blood in it.
Yeah.
And the reason that we're all being hoodwinked right now is because we've been duped into a fucking religion of something that we think we have a certain element of contribution, but we don't, because there's a self-serving elite who don't represent anybody in this country because they're operating in ultra-vires. They're operating malfeasance in public office.
Yeah.
These are criminals and traitors.
Psychopaths.
These are psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yes, they fucking are. Yes.
Yeah.
They are psychopathic.
And what's behind them is shadow government that you know nothing about.
Yeah, in the house behind the speaker is a guy called the Remembrancer.
Yeah.
And the Remembrancer represents the City of London. So anything that gets passed in that house, and this has been for quite some time, unless it benefits the City of London, it will not be passed into legislation.
No.
So you tell me if they represent you or not. They fucking don't.
None of them do.
So what we're seeing
but
now,
none of these people that go into politics, are quite obviously in the beginning quite green, if you like, go into it, and they want to make a difference and all sorts, and you know, and they go in there, and then they find out when they get in the doors slammed. This is how you got to behave. This is what you got to do. You know, you have to toe the party line, and we have whips here that are going to chase you around the room to make sure you do what we want you to do. Where's the democracy? Basically. Where's the democracy in all that?
No, none at all. So what we're seeing, Clint, is basically the way that the system's been fashioned around us and enclosed around us, the matrix, is that because these people are actually, so every single serving MP is a registered corporation.
Yeah.
So it'll be their first name and then MP, and that is a registered corporation. So Boris Johnson MP is not the man. He is a corporate entity.
Yeah.
And this is why none of them ever get held culpable for their, never get held accountable for their shit.
No.
Because there's limited liability there because it's a corporation.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson's real name is Alexander de Pfaffel Johnson.
Yeah.
That's his real name. You can go and look it up, and that is his real name. That is the man. But Boris Johnson MP is a corporate entity.
Yeah.
So he's not your fucking prime minister. It's just fiction.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, you see. Because they're all fictions, government is a fiction. So government is a corporation.
Yeah.
And because government is a corporation, they have no more power than fucking McDonald's, and that is a fact in law. In law, they have no more power than McDonald's, and yet we're all bowing down to them like slaves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is just the way it is.
But I feel again, I do feel that there is a massive surge of discontent that sits there. I know what you're saying, and I know a lot of people wouldn't quite understand that, but that's actually true, and I know what you're saying is true. But
Yeah.
the fact is that, you know, in relation to just going back to clap for the heroes and no one did it, shows you that people are not on the page anymore. Shows you that people are thinking there's something wrong here. And if you go out there, actually, there is lots of people out there. There's lots of people driving about, lots of people walking about, and sometimes it feels like that there's no lockdown on at all, only that there's nothing open. Because I think people are sick to death of it. And
well, you got the confusion, haven't you? So it's all right for the Costa coffees to open up, yet my little cafe, or whatever example you want to put down. But I think where it's hitting home now is obviously when the first furlough scheme came in, it only helped half of the self-employed people, maybe even less than that.
Yeah, a lot less than that.
A lot of us got fuck all. Yeah. And then you've got all of these corporations, bigger corporations now, who are not putting staff on furlough because their workers can still go into work.
Yeah.
Yet they're being told they must stay at home because of lockdown, and it's just so. It's just one big melting pot. And do you know what I actually see? And I don't really want to say it, but I'm going to. Is if you look when we were on our knees in the Great Depression, they kicked off a world war, and it weren't fucking hard to do. Well, we're 10 times over the Great Depression in debt and fucking shit.
Yeah.
And that's the next thing coming.
But I can tell you now.
That is what's happening.
I think I don't know whether I mentioned this to somebody. I didn't mention it on the show, but there's rumblings at the moment, and they're in little pieces in newspapers and things and on the news. But Pompeo, what his bloody name is in America, the next war is in Iran.
Yep.
That's coming.
And then you've got Russia and China who are on side with Iran. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, we're on our knees, will be, by the end of this year.
Yeah.
You know, the world's collapsing. The financial system is collapsing, and that's by design.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Great Reset. And what is going to happen at the end of that is they're going to go, right, we've already got you all wound up. We've only got to point at someone and go, they're the enemy. And
you'll go and go at them, yeah.
People will snap. It didn't take
a lot. Is this before we have army on the streets, though?
Well, you know, I don't know. But I know that Europe have got it far worse than we have. You know, you can't even go out your door without, where's your papers? Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Hell.
Well, and as I said already on air, Canada is in a curfew, 8 o'clock to 5 in the morning.
There you go. What's a curfew about? What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, darkness hasn't won, but they've got a good hold on us at the moment. You know,
they have, but on certain people.
Yes, of course.
Gemma says, surely if someone has had it, that is COVID, and can prove they have antibodies, so immune, why can't they go out now?
Well, that's it.
All this stuff are taking a vaccine, and it's going to be great. And the World Health Organization says it must need 2 vaccines over a period of time. And in this country, the government's saying, no, we're not going to give you 2. We're going to give you 1. And then we give you another one at some point later in the time in the distance.
Or we're going to mix them from different companies. Hope all goes well.
Yes. No, you can't write it, can you? I mean,
no, it's just baloney, isn't it? It's bollocks.
And you know, you've got to remember that this is something that was put together in 5 months, 6 months. You know, would you put anything in your arm that has had that limited amount of time? I wouldn't, certainly not. No way. I don't, you know, I'm not interested. But the question I started this show off with is a really important one, really. And this really should open people's eyes because, you know, we're in lockdown. Yes, there are people moving about, but, you know, they do, don't they? You can't, not everyone can stay in. Do you know what I mean?
No. Schools are still open to a fashion, and what's actually happened this time round, sorry, Clint, is that they've widened the goalpost for children to go to school.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a lot of children in school, whereas the first lockdown, there was only sort of 10 or 15 kids in school. This lockdown, I can't remember what goalposts they've moved. The wife did tell me the other day. But basically, because there's lots more...
but that's not clear everywhere, because it's not the same everywhere, is it?
No, because then that'll be down to which school does what. And, it's just a mess. It's just a mess.
It is.
But then how is it so deadly and so contagious that it's come back in 2 or 3 waves? What a load of bullshit.
Well, the thing is, my question is, this is our 3rd lockdown, right? 3rd lockdown.
Yeah.
And we had apparently, allegedly, nearly 1,400 people died today of COVID. So how did they die? And would they have died if we weren't in lockdown?
Yeah. And did they die of COVID or with COVID?
Yeah.
Because there's a bloody big difference.
There is.
I think you'll find that most of those figures are with COVID, not of COVID. How can we stop dying of heart attacks? How can we stop dying of cancer and suicide and Alzheimer's and all the other fucking illnesses that we have? You know, when you look at the flu deaths, I think I saw today or yesterday, one GP said, "Oh, there's no flu this year." Sorry, what? There's no flu this year. So that's why I say it's flu rebranded, because that's bullshit. Thousands of people die every year of flu.
They do.
And it's called a flu season for that reason.
Yeah. And always at this time of year, the NHS is overwhelmed. But being overwhelmed is very much down to the management of a ridiculously bad or organized, bad run organization. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what NHS stands for? It really stands for needing help seriously.
Yeah. Well, needing help seriously, because actually to go to the National Health Service, anybody who goes in a hospital is sick.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't actually go in there unless you had some sort of physical ailment that you couldn't heal yourself.
No.
Because anything else can be done naturally and homeopathically.
Yeah.
Why would you even go in that place?
But
they don't, don't get me started.
We had Gemma Brooks on the show on Sunday, which was and also Susan Hallwell. Both gave their stories, their accounts, really, and all the things, and obviously the different difficulties that Gemma has there, and appointments put off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like genocide by disassociation, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like, well, we won't, we'll just keep putting it off because we've got this real bad situation that we haven't got, and hope that you get better soon.
I know. But it's where is the care in that?
No, there is no sense of care there, is there, really? I think that's where we've got to, because actually what we haven't realised is, since the Labour Party days, where they were taking out what was called PRF loans, something like that. They were taking out these big loans from these loan sharks to build their new hospitals, to build their new departments, right? All in the Tony Blair heydays, right?
Yeah.
And then when the Tories got, when we had the coalition and it all fell apart, and Brown sold all the gold off and all that bollocks. What we've seen now in this last 5-10 years is all of those loans have come home to roost. And the reason that these NHS trusts have got no money is because they're spending it on repaying the frickin' loans. And that's what's really happening. It's not cuts from government. It's a case of they're having to pay off these hefty loans with 50% interest to all of the bloody MPs that had backhanders from the loan sharks or whatever.
Yeah.
Bankers again. It's fucking bankers again, and it always will be, because we've never held these people to account.
No.
None of us know. None of us are taught about banking. None of us are taught about what money is.
No.
We're just told this is what you do and that's what you get.
Yeah.
That's where the slavery comes in, the debt slavery.
Yeah.
Money actually doesn't exist. It's a piece of fucking paper.
Yeah.
Get real.
You mentioned a name there Tony Blair, Tony Teflon Blair. That is a man that at the moment seemed to be vigorously or rigorously trying to put himself in a position of some power.
Yeah.
And trying to muscle himself back into power.
He's a psychopathic man, that guy.
He is.
He's a clever man, though. He's a very clever man. He actually, his background is he was a trust lawyer. So, you know, you're never going to get somebody like Tony Blair because Tony Blair is not actually his real name.
No.
You know, that's just his stage name for when he was Prime Minister. Just the same as Boris Johnson isn't his real name.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a case of people have had a lot of time at home, and I think people have had a lot of time to look at information, but they've been falling into all of the very carefully laid traps that the truth movement have had, that the free, you know, there's just so much shit going on here. But
there is, yeah.
You know, the likes of me and the likes of a few others, we've been talking about this shit for 10, 15 years, if not longer, some of us, since 9/11. You know, 9/11 was the start of all this.
Yeah.
In fact, World War III, it's been known, World War III actually started in 9/11.
Yeah.
Because it was the war on humanity.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in right now. So let's look for some optimism. I mean, at the end of the day, they're never going to fucking win because, you know, I think what really needs to happen is people need to get off their phones and technology and actually start talking about this shit in real life.
And that's where the problem starts, isn't it? Because you can't meet anyone.
Well, no, that's very true. But there are still people meeting up. There are in a resistance kind of way. You know, that's what will end up happening because we won't stand for it forever.
No, we won't.
I think there's going to be a tipping point.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I think we're nearly there.
Yeah, I think we are too.
Because I think that if many more restrictions, I actually feel, and I know what your feelings are, that the government shouldn't be there anyway, and we should have something different. I completely agree with you. But in the meantime, I do feel that this Conservative government is finished. He's finished.
Well, yeah.
And I can't see him being there in March. All that government.
But the thing is, Clint, what you're not understanding is that the dictatorship has already rolled in, mate, and it don't matter what
I know.
You think you vote in, it's already there.
Yeah.
They all, you know, if you look back in the where are we going back to? I suppose Edward Heath, really, because he was the one that sold us down the river. Every prime minister since Edward Heath, and even before that, but every prime minister since then, since was it mid-70s, early 70s? If they were for the people, each consecutive prime minister that came in would undo the crap that they didn't agree with from the previous.
Yeah.
Do they ever do that?
No.
No. So this dictatorship has been slowly monkey installed over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. So that we're never going to uninstall it. What really needs to happen is non-violence, non-compliance, and to let it starve to death as a system.
Well, and to a degree, they're creating that.
But when you realise that money is just a piece of paper, and yet we could all create something that was of similar value, because we all have confidence, belief and faith in it, then we can leave their system fucking way behind and go and do our own system. And we'll watch their system burn to a cinder, and it will. But it needs that. It needs the people to completely wake up, and we're not quite there yet. People are getting. It's only affecting people now. So I do believe a lot of humanity are going through dark night of the soul. They're helpless. Yeah. They're clutching at straws. They're going through it, and we're seeing obviously suicide numbers going through the roof. I got a friend down here on the south coast. He's voluntary Coast Guard. He goes out 3 nights a week. Now get this, he goes out 3 nights a week from quite a big bay, from Weymouth right down to Salcombe. It's quite a massive bay.
Okay.
And he said that 3 nights a week since February last year, so when was it? Yeah, 2020, February 2020 till now.
Nearly a year.
nearly a year, he's been going out 3 nights a week, and that's every week, 3 nights a week, picking up dead bodies.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
People driving down here from all sorts of places, leaving, and just literally walking into the sea.
God.
And the thing about this that's even more worrying is the fact that the Coronavirus Act 2020, if you're put down as a corona death, there's no coronary, there's no report on how you died.
No.
You could just be put in the incinerator and burnt.
Yeah.
That's how serious this is.
Yeah.
That's how much the dictatorship has rolled in. So I do implore everybody to go and read the Coronavirus Act 2020, because you really need to understand what these fuckers are doing, and you really need to wake up right now.
Yeah. I agree.
And the thing is my understanding of the law is different to a lot of other people's. This legislation isn't law; it is company rules, because the UK is a corporation. It is not a country. This has always been England, and it always will be England. This is the landmass England. This is that country. The UK is a corporate pirate ship that's dry docked on the top of England, and we all think that we live in the UK. We do not. It's not a union.
No.
It's a corporation.
Yeah.
It's a corporation.
Well, and in not many years' time, there won't be an England. There won't be a UK anyway of any description, because they're all going to be separate.
It's already gone. It's now. I think it's Devon and Cornwall is already an EU state.
Yeah.
So it's not even, it's part of the EU. It already is. And I think it's either this year, it was either last year or this year, the Treaty of Lisbon, it's already too late. It's already been given away to the EU. There's I don't know if you know about this, it's the Presco Agreement, which was...
I've heard of that, yeah.
November 2019, we gave our British military away to the EU to form an EU army. It's already gone. So there is no more British forces. They're all EU. The dictatorship is here. It's already installed, I'm afraid. So we really need to start pulling a finger out of our asses and actually talking to people. But it won't be till such time that there are probably troops on the street and people start getting treated really badly.
Yeah. And I do feel, and I'm not being a scaremonger, but I do feel that those days are coming.
Well, yes, they are, because people are going to squirm when they can't feed their families and they can't survive because they have lost their jobs.
Well, and they're suffering immense mental. They're suffering immense mental torture. They've been starved of social interaction. So, i.e., they can't go anywhere. They can't even go to a pub because you can't go there till May. And only today in Scotland, they're banning non-essential click and collect. They're banning people from drinking alcohol outside, and they're banning people going and getting takeouts and takeaways.
Yeah. So
that woman stood in her parliament and said, "Well, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want."
We know Swanky.
Yeah. I don't really want to do this. But when are people, as you say, going to wake up? The amount of people that still believe in the enigma is frightening.
Yeah.
But I do feel that with the vaccine, which I know isn't going down terribly well with a lot of people in relation to being a benefit, it's actually opposite effect at times. I do feel that something's got to give here, Matthew, because we've gone too far down a rabbit hole. It's too la land, and it just gets sillier and crazier by the minute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the trouble is with it all is when you're talking about the New World Order, that it's always order out of chaos. So what are we living right now?
Yeah,
chaos. Fucking chaos.
Yeah, and to a degree.
So you watch what they offer, because that's the order that they'll offer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I totally agree.
You know, we just got to stay strong and hold our faith in ourselves. I think what will be. But I think until people really feel it, and they are starting to really feel it, but they still believe that their government are doing the right thing for them. I think most of them.
I think there is an element of that, but I do think there's a very large percentage in our reality, in our country, and you certainly get into Liverpool, Manchester, London, that there is massive undercurrents of dissatisfaction, because it's not just about what they're doing, it's about they ain't got any money, they ain't got any food.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And now the bills are coming in, and they can't pay their mortgage, they can't pay their water and gas and electric.
Yeah.
And we're in the winter, which is obviously the worst time for those, especially the gas and electric and that. And you've got 4 children and you've got no food.
Yeah. And all you're doing is queuing up at a food bank.
Yeah. Yeah. And then told that you can't go to that because you shouldn't be out, or
it's not essential. It's not essential.
Non-essential. Yeah, because when this was a story, I think in another lockdown, where in Wales, a guy went into Sainsbury's and he was told that shopping with clothes was non-essential because they'd started covering up clothes.
Yeah.
So he went back in later on naked.
I like
and they
it.
were like, what are you doing? He's like, well, clothes are non-essential, so I shouldn't need to wear them, should I?
Can you? Yeah. Can you? I don't think I'd do that. I think it would really frighten people, to be honest.
Only in Wales, I think.
Only in Wales, yeah. Did he have his wellies on? That's the thing.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I think the only other way to really give people a bit more hope and optimism is take the piss out of it.
Yeah, you
what
got
else
to.
have we got left, really? Let's just take the fucking piss out of it. I don't care about being politically correct, because at the end of the day, being political means that you're into bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
Forget being right or wrong for a minute. How about what they're doing is wrong, know? And maybe we should just literally rip the piss out of them because they're fucking a bunch of idiots, imbeciles.
Yeah, it's not just in this country. I mean, look and see what's going on in America right now, where at this moment in time, they're trying to impeach President Trump, even though he's out of office in 7 days. You couldn't write it, could you?
Trouble is, I just find it all so much fairy tale. It's so much theatre, because America's 4, 5, 6,000 miles away. How the fuck do we know what's really going on over there?
Absolutely.
All we see is stories from mainstream media and alternative media, and it could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Really, in all honesty, there's no proof there. I mean, I saw something the other day, because it's all part of this QAnon thing that I don't follow at all. The Pope's been arrested. Really? Okay. Really? Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't just his clone or another
a doppelganger?
A body double. Yeah, exactly. So I think people are very easily jump on a bandwagon and follow. And you got to really get away from that a little bit, because if you follow, you're going to follow yourself right into the fucking hole that you don't want to be in. I firmly believe.
I agree.
Where have all the real men gone? Let's not be cowards now. Let's not just follow because they've said, "Oh, let's go this way." How about just do a bit of your own research?
No, we have to run with what we feel is right, and
well,
regardless.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
And what we feel when this came out, I knew straight away it's a load of rubbish.
It was too Hollywood, wasn't it?
It's and it still is.
The whole, I watched that, that first film, Plan to Save the World, and with the atmospheric music and the soft tone of the narrator, and this is what we did, and fuck off, that had Hollywood written on it all over it.
Yeah.
Holly is of the wood which witches cast a spell.
Yeah.
Come on, really? And look at how many of the truth movement fell right into it. Yes, because we're all looking for hope. Yes, we're all looking to break open this darkness on this realm. But making one man a saviour and following that, I'm just sorry. It's not right.
No.
It's just not fucking right.
But it's indoctrinated within the whole of every society across the planet.
Yeah.
And
safety program. Yeah, definitely.
It is about, but I do feel, I mean, the British are people that don't complain, they just put up with things. I don't think they're going to anymore much longer.
No, I don't. I think there's a lot of angry people, and that obviously when you're waking up, anger is the first thing you get.
Of course you do.
Anger and frustration. So and that's what I mean about. I think their next phase will be to kick off a third world war, because if they really want depopulation, which they do, what better way to do it? You've got a lot of angry people. Well, let's just start a big physical war.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at
that's what Argentina did in the Falklands.
Yeah, exactly. You look at all the programming that I've got mates. I've had to go myself. Warzone on the Xbox, where you're playing as a military character and you're shooting people. I've been shooting games for years, but these games are getting like squads of mates who are online multiplayer, and they're do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they not just training them for war?
Of course they are.
Of course they fucking are. What's the difference of shooting someone virtually and then going out into a field and shooting someone physically? Not really much difference at all.
Not a lot at all.
Holding the gun. In the mine.
Something going slightly off subject, but did you realise that there is an alien ambassador, a UN alien ambassador? Did you know that?
No.
There is an alien UN ambassador.
Do you know his name?
No, it's a woman actually. She was the ambassador up until 2014. So I don't know who's there now. But
let's have a look at that.
Underneath all this, there is something called the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. Did you know about that?
Yeah, is this where the black budget's gone? And
well, this is supposed. I mean, this is an immense site. They're based in Vienna. And it's everything and anything. It's United Nations Office for Outer State Affairs works to promote international cooperation in peaceful use and exploration of space, and in the utilization of space science and technology for sustainable economic and social development. To establish legal and regulatory frameworks to govern space activities and strengthen the capacity of developing countries to use space science technology. And they have what they call a space for SDGs. It is literally the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. It's huge, and this is a lot of pledges. Number one is no poverty. Well, right now, if you go on a Worldometer, 31,624 people have died today of starvation.
Yeah.
So what are they doing about that? Absolutely nothing, because this is a front for something else, as you said just now. And there's a lot of abbreviation speech on here, which, they talk about a UN Spider program, a UN space program, Unispace plus 50s. There's something on here called space law, treaties and principles. And you go into treaty status, and it brings up basically treaties between countries, convention on registration of objects launched into space. And there's a lot of PDFs on here, which is very much about agreements made by countries in relation to what they do in space. Now, if you remember rightly, George Bush Jr. went around the world and said, I've got this Star Wars technology, so you better conform to what I want to do because I own space, and that's it. Because he did.
Yeah.
And this is actually a legal framework organization within the UN. How many billions does this cost a year? And what do they really do?
Yeah.
There's much more. I'll tell you what, COVID is small fry. There is so much more bigger things going on here that is far outweighs what we see in front of us. Brexit, COVID, and the election in America and all that.
These are just tools. These are just small cogs in the bigger wagon, in the bigger wheel that are pushing us towards total global enslavement. And that is a declaration of Agenda 21.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people have said, you know, and a lot of people have poo-pooed Agenda 21 for years, saying it's always a non-binding agreement, rah, rah, rah. Well, why is it they're all still working to it? Why is it they're all still doing it?
Yeah.
Why is it they're all got this pin on their lapel of multicoloured circle, which is Agenda 2030?
Yeah.
Come
and
on,
you know what's part of that as well?
Yeah,
what's part of that as well is the complete and utter and this goes down to ancient technology and alien technology as well. That's why they're in Afghanistan. That's why they're in Iraq. That's why they're in Syria. That's why
Samaria.
Yeah, and that's why, and that's right, Mesopotamia as well, and that's why they will be in Iran, because I feel very strongly this year. You talk about a war, that's the next one.
Yeah, of course it is, mate. Of course it is. And also, if you're thinking that maybe ET does show, say, aliens do show up, you know, if the stargates and the portals are in Iran and Iraq and all that, those places, which they were, you know, that's where they're all going to come through. So, yes, there's lots of bigger things at play, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, really. I think the fact of the matter is that
maybe I need to take my medication laid down for a while.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. You just need to get out of it for a little while.
We all need a holiday, don't we? Let's all have a holiday. Where should we go?
Yeah.
Should we go in the sit room or the front room?
I think the thing is, I've been saying it for a long time, and a lot of people say, yeah, but I want to keep tabs on what they're doing. But actually, what we really need to do is switch the TV off, stop reading the newspapers, and just stop consuming it full stop. Because we're still feeding
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but if I did all that, I wouldn't have nothing to talk about on this show. You know, because basically,
there is that, yeah.
People. I mean, I pick out stuff and I pick out things that are just ridiculous, and it just gets more sillier and sillier and sillier, and it's almost laughable, to be honest, if we want a serious edge to it. But you know, I know there's a lot of people say I don't have a television set, I don't watch television, I don't read newspaper, but I also feel that, you know, as I would call you, me, and many thousands of other people truth investigators. Now, we might all do that in different ways, but I mean, you know, I know your bag is law, definitely. It's not my bag particularly. I know bits of it, but you know, my bag would be more the darker reaches of covert operations, really. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
That are going on.
The reason I got into law so much was because I found it set me free.
Yeah.
By knowing who I was in this system, in the system that's been wrapped around us called the Matrix. Yeah. By knowing the law and my rights and who I truly am, I now know that I don't have to bow down to anybody's authority because I am at the top. Nobody has the right to come between me and the Creator. Nobody.
And interesting, Matrix 4 is coming out this year.
That's self-empowerment, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, and it's not like a righteous thing. It's just a case of, you know, everything that's been wrapped around us is in commerce.
Yeah.
It's trust or commerce. That's the only two things that operate in this world is trust and commerce. So when you look at everything in that perspective, and you realise that your government is a corporation that has no more power than any other corporation.
Yeah.
What it does have is it's the top level corporation in this country because it's masquerading as a country. That's how clever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you realise that money is a piece of paper and it isn't worth anything, it's printed out of thin air. It's make believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it make believe? Because if you believe in it, it's real.
Yeah. Well,
where do we get all our beliefs from?
And the fact
the
that
core foundation of indoctrination.
You know, but I mean, you know, the same can be said that, you know, all the fairy tales we're told are real tales actually, and the fairy tale land and the world of make believe is more real than the world that we live in.
Well, of course.
So, yeah. You've been amazing, Matthew. It's been fantastic having you on. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I talked too long, didn't I?
No, you're fine. No, it's just that we're going to wrap it up. We've been on for a couple of hours. It's just, I mean, I just went back to starting a Wednesday show because, you know, I just thought that people have an opportunity to have a say. And it's been quite successful up to now. It's only a second week, but we're going to roll with it and see where it goes.
Nice.
And obviously on the Inview soon.
To you and let you wrap up.
Wrap up, yeah, absolutely. And you take it easy. And
you on the 24th.
Happy New Year to all of you and your family and everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much, and to you and yours.
Yeah, and I will speak to you at the end of the month.
Yes, lovely. Looking forward.
It's not far away. A couple of weeks, isn't it? Something like that.
Take care and bye for now.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
All right, bye. What an amazing man, Matthew. His knowledge is absolutely amazing, to be honest. And you know, we all have knowledge bases in one sort or another, of different areas, if you like. Lovely guy, absolutely lovely guy. I'm really glad he was on. I hope you enjoyed tonight. We've been going since 7. We've had Apollo, Richard Gardner's ring us. We just had Matthew John, and in between all that, I've been telling you a lot of different things that's going on in the world that maybe you need to know about. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. It is the second one on a Wednesday. We'll be back next Wednesday. But before that, we were back on Sunday. Now, on Sunday is an interesting show because we have got Melanie Kellaway on the show. Has been on before, old friend of the Inview, who's very outspoken, but she also works in spirituality. And has very strong views on various things. And we do have also Louise Love on the show. Now, Louise Love hasn't been on the show for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to speaking to her. And she has very strong views and everything on what's going on and everything. So it'd be really good to speak to her and have her on the show. And of course, we have a surprise guest on the show as well. So, you know, we got 3 guests on Sunday. It all kicks off at 7. We'll be starting out with News of the Week. And that's only 3 days away, and you got me again on it. I hope you all have a good 3 days break from the Inview until we come back on Sunday. And you know, this is very open. So if you want to text me or you want to message me with anything that you feel that we should talk about that we don't talk about, please tell us. You know, we're always open to everything and bring everything up when it's open to everyone's view. I thank you all very much for listening. Have a good few days, and I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday, 7 o'clock Sunday. So put that in your diary. Melanie Kellaway and Louise Love with a special guest as well. So watch this space, and good night.